I told him I couldn't do it. They burned me. I don't want to die.
Supper time and still no Charlie Frizzy. He'll come. I give Charlie Frizzy plenty business in my time. Yes, but will he take my case? You just show him that note. That's all a mouthpiece like Frizzy needs.
And I don't mind telling you, Frizzy, that I'm glad somebody's trying to help Westland.
You think he didn't do it?
Unfortunately, what I think doesn't matter. But there's something about that fellow Westland makes me feel, well, I hope you can help him.
Thanks. With your cooperation, I think I can.
Come in, Westland. No, Mr. Frizzy?
No, but I feel I should. Connor's told me a lot about you.
Wait outside, Dolph.
Yeah. Good guy, Connor, when he isn't packing a rod. The boys will miss him.
He says you can get me a reprieve. If anyone can.
If anyone can is right.
Well, maybe this will help.
Sit down, Westland.
Thank you.
I don't know who killed your wife, but I know you didn't. I don't want to take a rap for what I was doing in the building that night, or I would have alibied you before. If you can protect me, I'll tell the DA what I know. See Joe Petro, 90 South Halstead. Ask for MG. Alibi witnesses are okay when you're building a defense, but... You guilty, Westland?
No, Frizzy. I didn't kill my wife.
Then what about the dame that the papers mentioned? Who was she?
Emily Lou Martin. We were to marry as soon as my wife divorced me.
Oh, I remember. The prosecution called her motive number one.
Will you handle my case?
Trying to free a man who's 6 days from a hearse isn't a case, Westland. And Houdini's dead.
And unless you can help me, in 6 days I'll be dead. For a murder I didn't commit.
So why'd you wait until now to have Connor send for me?
Because that note didn't come until yesterday. Look, Frizzy, if you don't believe I'm innocent, what hope can I have of...
Now, keep your shirt on, Westland. Keep your shirt on. I'm no different from anybody else that read about the trial. I think a guy that's in love with another Jane is a likely bird to bump off his prow. Especially when she left him all she had.
It was only 30,000.
30,000. Only 30,000. Think that's peanuts to a $3 a day Joe or to me? That's all I'd charge to save your neck.
I'll give you 50 if you can.
Sure. I was going to say that's what it'd amount to with expenses. Now, speaking of wills, you're leaving all your money to the Martin girl.
All except 10,000.
Oh, yes, I remember. That goes to your butler, Simmons.
That's right.
Uh-huh. Oh, well, how about that movie the prosecution made, reenacting the discovery of Mrs. Westland's body? Have you got a print of that?
My former attorneys have. But Aren't you familiar with the details of my case?
Oh, I am, but Crane isn't.
Crane. Who is he?
A detective from New York. At least he says he's a detective. I think he's a magician.
Is he that good?
No, that bad. You can't keep him on the job or out of your hair.
And what's more, gentlemen, from the rock-covered coast of California to the sun-kissed shore of Maine, there is no other scientific crime detector who can perform this little trick.
It ain't no trick, it's a miracle. Tell him how you do it, Mr. Crane.
I should be delighted, Mr. Williams. Supersensitized development of the olfactory nerves.
Huh? He means he's got a strong smeller.
And unless those olfactory nerves deceive me, you are the only one with bourbon in his glass.
You win. It's yours. Wonderful.
Say, pal, did you sound the slaughterhouse murder with your nose?
Partially. Only partially. What else you use? The testimony of 5 eyewitnesses and a man's confession helped a little. I think that'll conclude the performance for today. I feel slightly indisposed.
Hello, Crane. See you're on the wagon.
I'm glad one of us can see. Let's have a drink. We're celebrating.
Celebrating what?
The solution of the Westland murder.
What do you know about it?
You were in every bar in town today looking for me. Let's have 30 or 40,000 double scotches and give him the check. What have you got except the piece of the Westland will?
I got a bit of evidence that changes the whole complexion of this case.
Doesn't take much to improve a death, Fowler. What is it? It's for being quiet so long.
This little bit of paper.
Where'd you find that, in the warden's wastebasket?
Crane, if we could find the man who wrote this note...
You'd have the murderer of Westland's wife.
Can't guarantee that. But it may prove that Westland is not the murderer. What? Meet Bill Crane.
Oh, yes. I hope you can help Frazee prove he's right about Westland.
Well, we'll do the best we can. This is my pal, Doc Williams. Everybody here?
I'm going for Westland now. Your people are waiting in there, Frazee. If you want anything else...
Thanks, Warden. Good morning, gentlemen.
Same here. I'm Bill Crane, and this is Doc Williams. Frazee tells me we're gathered here for a little game of Who Done It. I'll bet you're the perfect secretary. Now, I never read the newspaper accounts of murder trials, but my barber told me he thought you were guilty.
Little icy, huh?
You're the bookkeeper.
I've kept the books for Bolston, Westland, and Woodbury for 11 years. And, well...
Oh, I'm sure of that. Doc. Not now.
That, yeah.
And you?
Now, Crane, let me introduce these people. It'll save a lot of time.
Oh, let me guess.
But you're questioning like a lot of suspects. They're Westland's friends, here to help him.
I'll give them a chance to help them as soon as they all get here.
Who's missing?
One of Westland's business partners, I guess.
How did you know?
Well, if you'll pardon my saying it, you don't look like the type who could run a business alone. Quiet. Where is it?
Mr. Bolston's on the way. He stopped for Miss Martin.
Oh, that's the girl he did it for.
Not so fast. I thought we were all here to help prove Mr. Westland was innocent.
Oh, kind of like him a little bit yourself, don't you?
Miss Martin, and Mr. Bolson, this is Bill Crane.
How do you do?
How do you do?
I hope we're not late.
Oh, you're not late. What are a few minutes with a man's life at stake? Say, Doc.
Yeah.
Remind me to speak to the warden about this. You must have a lifer cleaning out this office. They don't worry about the date. 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and the 9th. Let me have a pencil, Doc. Doomsday. 12:02 a.m.
Oh, Bob.
Oh, Emily Lou.
Are you all right?
Yes, I'm all right. But it must have been awful for you all these weeks.
They wouldn't let me see you.
No, I know. But there is a chance now. So, keep it up.
Off guard that time.
Mr. Westland, this is Bill Crane.
How do you do? You see, Miss Martin and
I know. There aren't many visitors in the death house. I guess you know her voice, all right?
Huh?
Frazee tells me someone called you the night...
Oh, yes. Someone imitated Miss Martin's voice and called to say that my wife was abusing her.
That's why you went to see your wife the night she was...
Yes.
And you didn't call her?
No, she didn't. I realized later it couldn't have been Miss Martin. The person used such bad English.
Well, Frazee, floor is yours.
Stand by the curtains, Williams, please. Sit down, everybody.
Please.
Perhaps I'd better explain that the picture you're going to see was made by the prosecution in order to prove that no one but Westland could have murdered his wife. The point being that the door was locked and her key was found on the table. The scene that you're about to witness is the discovery of Mrs. Westland's body, all of which has been admitted by the defense. All right, Williams, if you please.
Don't anybody take a pot shot at me while it's dark in here. We're seeing a movie, not writing one. You have to shoot, get Williams.
At 9:30 on the morning of April 26th, 1937, June day, Mrs. Westland's maid tried to gain access to the apartment. She rang the bell. Failing to get any response, she rushed to Mr. Wayne, the manager, who immediately called his friend, Detective Strom, and later, joined by the janitor, hastened to investigate.
Has anyone got a key to this joint?
Nobody but Mr. and Mrs. Westland. They had a special lock put on. The door couldn't be opened or locked inside or out without one of their keys.
What's the trouble here? What's going on?
Mrs. Westland doesn't answer, and we have no key to investigate.
Oh, but I had an appointment with her.
Well, the elevator boy says she hasn't left.
Well, there must be something wrong. Break the door down. Go ahead, I'll be responsible.
Shall I call Dr. Morris?
No, call the coroner.
Should I call Mr. Westland?
I'd rather tell him myself.
Did someone say he had the only key beside Mrs. Westland's?
Yes, he had the only other one.
Is this Mrs. Westland's key?
Yes, that's it.
Well, in that case, I'd better have a look around. And if all the doors and windows are locked, things are going to look bad for Mr. Westland.
Strom did find every door and window locked. This, together with the fact that the only other key to the apartment was still in Mr. Westland's possession at the time of his arrest, constituted the chief evidence pointing to the guilt of Robert Westland in the murder of his wife.
And to add to this super epic, the prosecution proved that Mrs. Westland was killed with an obsolete Webley pistol. Mr. Westland had one, but it had been missing since the murder.
Pretty lovely, charming. Couldn't they have produced somebody who saw him shoot his wife?
No, but the Shuttles who lived next door swore that they heard a shot at 12:10.
I suppose you testified you left about 12:30.
No, 12:40.
That's great. You sure got a lot to work on. So I guess we'll take the case.
Right, Chief.
Provided, of course, you folks like to play games.
Now what are you talking about?
Playing detective. After all, everyone in this room knows more about this case than I do.
I hope so.
Well, if there's anything I can do.
You can tell us about that Webley pistol of yours. Just like Westland's, wasn't it?
Yes. But the police checked it against the bullet that killed Mrs. Westland.
And the bullets didn't match. I just thought you might be able to help us find the missing pistol. Only because you know what Webley's look like, of course. Miss Martin?
You might be able to help us find the person who imitated your voice on the telephone. After all, she must have known you pretty well to have fooled Mr. Westland.
Why, look at me.
Why, indeed.
Yes, why, quiet.
By the way, did you know the elevator boy testified that he heard the Westlands quarreling that night?
Elevator boys always do.
And don't forget Simmons, the butler. He was in Westland's will for 10 grand.
That's right, and he knew about kept the missing pistol.
Make a note of that, Doc.
Right, Chief.
And here's a note for you all to think about. You're all Mr. Westland's friends. You'll have to dig up a motive for the murder of his wife. Was Mrs. Westland murdered to get rid of her or to get rid of Westland? One of you might have the answer to that one.
Meaning one of us murdered Mr. Westland's wife?
Of course that's what he means. But I'm not going to stay to hear it. We're all friends of Mr. Westland's. Friends, do you hear? Why, I worked for his father before him. I love him, as we all do.
You love him.
Now, Amos, listen to me. Mr. Crane doesn't suspect any of you. He simply thinks that...
He has nothing to think with. He's a fool. Do you hear me, young man?
Huh?
You're a fool.
Oh. Think you got something there, Pop? I've suspected as much for years.
Young lady, you and I, this plastic beauty, and my bloodhound are all going to have dinner over at Joe Petro's Palace Gardens.
But that's a dive.
Sure, but we're going to make old Joe tell us who MG is.
MG?
He sent Mr. Westland an alibi note.
Why take Miss Martin to a place like that?
I think both these young ladies may be very useful. If they can't charm it out of them, Doc has other methods.
You said it, Chief.
As for the rest of you, there are 5 more nights till doomsday. Remember that. You forget it. My hat, Doc. All right, ladies.
I feel as though something terrible was going to happen.
Don't worry. Just remember when we meet Petro to turn it on. 4. Martinis?
Yeah.
6 martinis.
6? Anything else?
Yeah, a large portion of the proprietor.
Joe here?
Scram. Anything the matter, gentlemen?
Are you Mr. Petro?
I am.
We're looking for a friend of yours.
Oh, every night this place is filled with my friends. Which one?
MG.
Oh, you mean Manny Grant?
Oh, don't you think you could find him for me? It means everything.
Manny's a hard fellow to find. How do I know you ain't G-Man?
Oh, they're all right.
You sure?
I'm positive.
Well, I tell you what, you stick around. We got good food. Manny will be here for dinner tonight. He'll see you. Maybe he'll talk to you, and maybe he won't. But if he don't, I will.
That's swell. Give us a chance to relax.
Sure, I'll tell him you're here. Everything will be honky-dooley.
Thank you.
Well, you did all right.
Straight whiskey and low port.
Beat it.
Do you think that's Grant?
Certainly could be. He and his whole army are headed this way.
Why, that dirty yellow...
Look out, you want to get mowed down? Better get the girls out of here. Come on.
Please now, don't get excited, please.
Who was he?
His name was Manny Grant.
Oh.
Ready.
You bungled the whole thing.
I know. The shot that sank Manny Grant left us behind the 8-ball.
I'm late, but I've been busy. You asked me to help Robert. I have been.
What do you got, Sprague?
I can't tell you now, but it's vital. May save the boy's life.
There isn't much time left, Amos. If there's anything that you
I've
can...
got to be sure. But tomorrow I'll tell you everything.
You didn't have to drive all the way out here to tell us that.
Relax, will you?
I don't trust phones. I had to tell Robert there is hope.
Can't you tell us anything further than that?
Only this. It involves millions. Millions, do you hear?
That's a lot of dough. Break it up. Your shuttle. Mrs. Westland lived next to you.
Yes, and Dr. Shuttle, if you don't mind.
I don't mind if your patients don't.
Speaking of patience, Crane, mine's about exhausted. A man comes here with evidence and...
Evidence that might save Bob's life if you hadn't let...
Poor guy shoot Manny Grant. I admit it was careless of me to let him splatter Manny around.
Darling, that must have been terrible for you.
There's the right guy. 4 days from the grave, and he's worrying about the gal.
He's a fool.
Worth carrying the torch for, though, huh? Well, Doctor.
Now, maybe I'd better explain.
Go ahead, Doc.
Well, all this is very embarrassing.
It's all right, Doctor. You had to testify against me.
Yes, but I should have remembered that I didn't set our clock ahead until we went to bed.
What's that?
Suddenly I remembered that on April 25th, Chicago changes from Central Standard Time to Daylight Saving Time. That night, all clocks are supposed to be turned ahead. Shuttle didn't turn his ahead until he retired.
Well, then it was 10 after 1 when you heard that shot.
And you left Mrs. Westland at 12:40.
Approximately. It was just 1 o'clock when I got home.
Oh, Bob, that proves you didn't do it. But you knew that all the time, didn't you, Miss Martin?
Of course. Just what do you mean by that?
Ladies, please. There are gentlemen present. Now, the fact that Dr. Shuttle heard the shot at 1:10 is only important if we can prove that Westland left when he says he did.
That's where Manny Grant would have come in handy.
On your horse, Doc. We're going to find out about this locked door business. How the murderer got out of Mrs. Westland's apartment. I almost forgot. Today is the 6th.
Hey, don't you think we ought to take along that perfect secretary, Miss Brantina?
What for?
Well, she could take dictation.
You're balmy. She doesn't take it. She gives it.
Really, gentlemen, don't you think this is all pretty hopeless? Personally, I believe, with the jury, that Westland shot his wife and locked the door himself. If you don't mind my saying so.
We don't mind because we ain't listening.
You're not.
We can't afford to. We're being paid to prove Westland's innocence.
If you're not going to be any help, we'll go up to Mrs. Westland's apartment and have a look.
Well, I'm sorry, gentlemen, but I don't think Miss Hogan would like that.
Miss Hogan? Isn't the Westland apartment privately owned?
It is, but I rented it.
You a private apartment and he rented it.
But, gentlemen, I thought...
Yeah? With what? Tell the lady we're on the way up.
And we'll deal with you later.
Get Miss Hogan. Dear, oh dear. Hello, Agatha. Some of Mr. Westland's lawyers want to come up and look at the apartment. Well, I'm sorry, but slip on something. But they're in a hurry. Oh, well, suit yourself, but open the door, they'll be right up.
I'm beginning to feel like one of the hall room boys.
Or a house dick. Must be the Hogan hangout. Push it, I'm tired.
You're always tired.
Yeah, rented the apartment, huh?
You must have come to the wrong apartment. There's 3 girls in 411.
Sorry to bother you, sister, but this is the final investigation of the Westland case.
Haven't they burned that guy yet?
No. You see, we have come to look through the apartment.
Yeah. Come in. Well, have a look around.
As I always say, not a bad life for policemen.
Lovely, eh?
Very.
The murderer couldn't get through there.
I don't know. Santa Claus does it.
Funny, ain't you, handsome?
You're all right, baby.
The lady is lovely, but we're supposed to be working.
I can stop any time. Is there any other door into this place except that one?
Yeah, there's an opening in the kitchen. Packages, but only a monkey could get through it.
Doc, have a look in the bedroom and see if anybody could get out of there.
Right.
Better go with him and make sure he don't fall down no rat holes.
The lady is lovely, but we're supposed to be working.
I'd go for a girl like that. You always know where you stand.
Sure do. You gotta sleep with one eye open to keep from getting your throat cut.
Look, do you think a girl, maybe Brentina, crossed up Westland?
I don't know. She's been Woodbury's secretary ever since the murder. She could have gotten in and swiped Westland's gun if she was in cahoots with the butler. That's the next bird we gotta see. Sims, Westland's butler.
You suppose Sprague, the bookkeeper, knows anything? Or is he just pitched in the hay?
Find out tomorrow. Any luck?
No.
I'll be seeing you, sweetheart.
Not from this life, I hope. If there's anything I can do for you, Mr.
Crazy. Charlie to you.
Oh, to seeing you around.
That dame must have read your mind.
Oh, I get around.
I hope she didn't read mine.
Can I drop you boys anywhere?
I want to walk and think.
No, let's just walk.
You still with us?
He ain't far behind.
This is where we ditch in Mrs. Westland's apartment.
What is it?
Are you Simmons?
I am.
I'm Detective Crane. Mr. Frazee said if I could...
come in.
We just wanted to ask you a couple questions, Simmons.
Nice spot.
Yeah, not bad. We're interested in Mr. Westland's gun. Where does he keep it?
In the drawer of that cabinet, sir.
When did you last see it?
On the afternoon of the murder, sir.
Did you tell the police?
Well,
It's all right. He's not a copper. He's trying to help you, boss.
No, I didn't, sir. I thought it would hurt Mr. Westland's case.
Boy, it sure wouldn't have helped it any. You stayed in the apartment the rest of that day and evening?
Yes, sir. Mr. Westland had dinner alone. When Mr. Woodbury came through, he...
Was Woodbury here?
Only just for a moment, sir.
Think hard, pal. Was Woodbury ever in this room alone?
I don't think so, sir. Yes, he was. I'd gone to bed, and I heard Mr. Westland come out into the kitchen. But you don't think that he could...
No, just checking up.
They didn't quarrel, did they?
Oh, no, sir. They were the best of friends. They served together in the Great War.
Was there any way anybody could have gotten into this joint and swiped Mr. Westland's gun?
Well, I don't see how, sir.
Anybody have a key except the boss?
Nobody. Oh, except Miss Martin. She dropped in to rest when she'd been shopping.
Oh.
Was Westland pinched in here?
No, sir. From his club. We played squash every day at 11.
Squash?
Squash.
And you stayed here?
Until 11:30, when Mr. Bolston telephoned me to bring some things to the jail as to Westland.
The Webley was in that cabinet.
Yeah, but I don't think...
Neither. But don't mention it to Mr. Woodbury.
Oh, not a word, sir.
Hey, that Woodbury looks hot and we're getting...
Don't break out in a heat rash yet. Remember, that say it's 10 grand from Westland's will. Catch on? A friend waiting for us?
Nope, I think he gave us up.
Taxi!
Not tonight, Joseph.
Duck! You all right?
Yeah. I thought they cut that stuff out in this town.
Ah, the amateurs. The mob never misses.
Taxi!
You win. That's one way to promote business.
What's it? Any good saloon?
Make it the first one you come to.
Morning. Oh, Mr. Sprague? Well, your voice sounded different. Funny thing, I was just thinking about your boss. Everybody thinks he's guilty.
He isn't. And today I'm going to prove that he isn't.
You?
Yes, me, Amos Sprague. Do you see that headline? Oh, of course you can't. But tomorrow my name's going to be there as big as life. You remember tomorrow's paper? Amos Sprague, Mr. Sprague, what's happened?
Darling, I wish I could help.
Nothing seems to help. Look, Frazee, if you know they've quit me, why don't you say so?
Take it easy, Westland. They haven't quit you. They're probably on a hot lead.
Yes, and cooling it off with a drink.
Well, that's encouraging. Well, poor Bob here.
Oh, thank heavens you've come.
You think I wouldn't?
Well, where have you been and what have you found out?
Well, I found out our client here is innocent, which is something, even though we can't prove it yet. Where is that Sprague?
Search me. Said that he's going to be here this morning.
That's cute. I'm staying right here till he shows up. I'm tired.
Come on, get up. Get up!
Now look here, Frazee. This man hasn't accomplished a thing. He's absolutely worthless.
Now cool off, Bolston. Cool off.
I hope Sprague's got more than I have when he gets here.
Yeah, and if he hasn't...
Well, we'll have to find the person that made that call imitating Miss Martin's voice. If there was such a call.
Well, of course there was.
Detective Strong.
What's the matter? Is he passed out?
Overworked.
To what do we owe your official visit?
I thought you might like to know. A fellow named Sprague was killed by a hit-and-run driver.
Sprague? What's that? You sure it was a hit-and-run driver?
It looks like it, except for a couple of witnesses who saw a guy get out of the car and run over to Sprague.
To make sure he was dead.
You think he was murdered?
Sure, by the same party that had our other witness, Manny Grant, killed.
Yeah, try and prove it.
I'll prove it if you'll check on the whereabouts of our friends here at the time Sprague was killed. And if somebody will please fix that calendar. Mr. Woodbury, would you mind? I'm really worn out.
Why pick on me?
You said you wanted to help. Thank you. Oh, the meeting's over. I gotta find that playmate of mine.
Yeah, what for?
To find the person that imitated Miss Martin's voice.
Oh, Mr. Crane.
Who could imitate a person's voice better than the person herself?
Think you got something there? $104.
Well, hello.
Hello.
Why didn't you tell me you were coming here?
Surprise.
Mr. Woodbury could have given you a lift, too.
Oh, I had to pick up Palsy here. I'd like to have a look at your phone wires, if you don't mind.
Hello, Mom. Well, this is Mr. Crane and Mr. Williams, the detectives.
How do you do?
Hello, Mom.
Well, won't you come in?
Thanks. I'm sorry to bother you, but I can't help feeling that anybody who would have called Mr. Westland and imitated your daughter's voice would have tapped the telephone wires.
Well, but why?
So Mr. Westland couldn't check back on the call.
Tapped wires? That sounds like detectives. But how could anybody get in here to tap our wires?
That's what we came out here to find out.
Where's the telephone?
Right out here in the hall.
I'd like to have a look at it.
But the night of the murder, we sat here all evening. The phone didn't ring once.
And Miss Martin didn't call Mr. Westland.
She certainly did not. Didn't you read the testimony of the trial?
Yeah, but I didn't think so much of the dialogue. You were in your own room at the time Mr. Westland was called.
Oh, yes, I was.
Doc, have a look in Miss Martin's room and see if she could have been watched from the back of the house while the wires were being tapped.
Where is it?
Pardon me, but I'm awful tired.
She can be watched, all right. There's a vacant lot next door, then a YMCA.
Have a look at that wire.
Hot diggity. That wire's been cut and spliced.
Yeah?
Fiddlesticks. The telephone man did that when we complained about the service. He said someone must have cut the wire accidentally.
When was it fixed?
Why, the day before Mrs. Westland was found dead.
Nonsense. It was the very day they found her.
Oh, no, Mother, that was on Monday.
Make up your minds.
Well, the man I'm thinking of came on Sunday. It was the day before that. I was here alone.
There were two repairmen?
I suppose there must have been.
The first one was a phony, eh, Bill?
Sure. First one cut it, the second one fixed it. What's in there?
The bathroom.
Let's have a look.
There's no wires running here.
That's a pip.
Come on.
I wish I had time. I've seen everything I want. Let's go.
Well, I should think so.
Mr. Crane, isn't there any chance of saving him?
Well, there's still 2 days left for something to turn up.
2 days.
Keep in there pitching. By the way, did Miss Brentino know your voice well enough to imitate it?
Well, she certainly heard it enough when she was Mr. Westland's secretary.
I just remembered something, Doc. Thanks very much. Let's go.
And what was it you just remembered?
That prohibition has been repealed.
What are we waiting for? What was that last cap, Bill?
$11. $11 to solve a crime. If the guy dies, it ain't worth a dime.
Hey, just a minute. This is Mrs. Westland's apartment. What are we doing here? I thought we wanted to find Frazee to see if he had something new.
And so we do, and so we will. Ring the bell, brother, ring the bell. What did I tell you? Hi, Pop.
So it's you.
Where's the lovely landlady? Want to take a shower?
He wants to take a shower.
Drunk?
No, just dusty.
Oh, you see, it's a complex.
Complex?
Right, Chief. Every time he sees a glass enclosed shower, he fairly waters at the mouth.
Where have you been?
Not where have we been, but do we come in?
Get him out of the hall. The manager will think it's bank night.
Master's voice. Hello, Tops. I like you, your Davenport, later your shower. And one more thing. Would you get the gentleman a drink?
Well, what's the idea?
The idea is, did you find out any more about Sprague's death than the great Strom told you?
No, I checked on everybody. They all have alibis except Simmons.
He's all right.
Yeah? Well, he got a police record.
No, honest, I didn't.
Shut up! What about Brentina? I don't like that dame.
She's swell. Nice figure.
Those are the dames to look out for.
Those are the dames I'm always looking out for.
Oh, thank you.
What am I, stepchildren?
You said get the gentleman a drink.
Oh, please, Agatha.
Oh.
Remember your high blood pressure, Pop.
Well, what did you find out?
three things. I'm no gentleman. I'm more thirsty than sleepy, and I'm very.
One of the lawyers told me that when Mrs. Westland's estate was probated, they found...
Bolston and Woodbury?
No, I checked. And all of those phony securities were listed as having been bought for Mrs. Westland while her husband was still handling her account.
Everything keeps...
It's guilty, baby. Do I hold this, or do I have to pour it in your mouth for you?
I love it.
Okay, you asked for it.
Perfect. Now I gotta stay here till I dry out. Good night, everybody. Water, water, water. Wonder what it tastes like.
Hey, landlady, up?
Been up for hours.
What time is it?
Friday.
Getting late.
Anything else?
Yeah. Get me a gallon of orange juice and 30 or 40,000 aspirin. Didn't you hear me?
Get your gallon of orange juice.
Is that all you heard?
Yeah.
Wait a minute, listen to this. This is Mrs. Crane's boy, William, broadcasting from a Wrigley Building Chalabat, the current Chicago tip. William Crane, Playboy Sleuth, and lovely Agatha Hogan, and Lady Glacier are Dunkin' Donuts in each other's coffee. And there's a certain criminal lawyer on fire. You hear anything?
Nothing.
Well, that's what I thought.
Woo!
What's that?
That's my Aunt Mary.
All right.
She spent the night.
For what?
Frazier sent her. He's no fool.
Oh, give me the warden of the state penitentiary, but quick.
What's the matter? Is this the day for the 20s and volts under the seat?
Nope, tomorrow night, but a lot of things can happen. Hello, warden? This is Crane. Get a hold of Westland right away for me, will you please?
He's right here, Crane, trying to get you.
Hello, Crane. I've been trying to locate you. Don't tell me you've got something.
Several things. A robe that could belong to you, or... Look, when you got that phone call you thought came from Emily Lou, was there anything peculiar about the connection?
Well, you mean whether it was local or long distance?
Yes, and were there any funny noises? It did? Like what? Niagara Falls? Listen, kid, don't start a jailbreak, but I think I can spring you. Goodbye. Hogan, I love the whole world. Even you, Aunt Mary. And as for Gorgeous here... Oh! My judgment's not so good this morning.
Your aim's all right, though. See if you can find the door.
Swell assignment for a big detective.
Well, you noticed I left Aunt Mary for company.
Yeah.
Who bit you?
Not Aunt Mary.
You're telling me? Morning, Boo-Boo. Did he behave himself?
Well, he didn't find any clues.
Well, I can tell you who murdered Mrs. Westland.
Yes. Tell me more.
I'll ask you more. Where is that Newfoundland of mine?
William?
Yeah.
He's checking Simmons' prison record. Why?
I'm about to go into what I laughingly call action, and I'm going to need a couple of things.
Well, I'll get them for you. What are they?
Well, first,
I'll answer it. Come in.
Well, I checked up on that guy Simmons' record, and the guy is, his... Who's that?
That's my Aunt Mary.
Listen, I want you to pick me up in front of Westland's apartment in an hour. But first, get me a stopwatch and a deep-sea diver. Got it?
Poor boy, has the case been too much for him? Ow!
Now we're even. And if I spring Westland by tomorrow night, you and I are going to have a date without Aunt Mary. And we won't need you either, Pop.
Pop?
Hi, Chief.
How do you do? Where did you have to go to contact that deep-sea diver at the bottom?
Here's your stopwatch. You know, you don't look nuts.
To the corner of LaSalle and Adams, over the Michigan Bridge, the quickest way. Get ready to go when I say go. You ready?
All ready, sir.
Go. Have you really got the diver where we can get him?
Yeah, he's waiting with a boat. Who wouldn't for $500? Hey, let me in on this, will you, Chief?
Relax.
Well, here we are, boss.
That's swell. Don't go away. It took 27 minutes and 40 seconds. Now let's go back a quicker way.
You mean where we just come from?
That's right.
Well, there ain't no quicker way except underground.
Does that cross the river?
Why, sure it crosses the river.
Let's take it. When I say go, go. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Go! Well, that's more like it. 22 minutes and 18 seconds.
Yeah, look, pal, why didn't you tell me you wanted me to take you underground? I could have taken you before.
I'm a stranger in town. Now that I've tried the underground, I kind of like it. Let's do it again.
What?
When I say go, go. You ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Go.
Look, we came this way once. If I see the corner of LaSalle and Adams again, I'll up Chuck. Honest, I'm getting seasick.
Hold it, driver. This is it.
This is what?
What I've been looking for. You got a monkey wrench?
If I got a monkey wrench? Yeah, I got one around here somewhere. Why?
Will you sell it to me?
I don't know. I think a lot of that wrench. It's the best one I ever had.
I see. How much?
I don't know. I might not be able to get another one just like that for less than $5.
$5. Why, I could buy a dozen of them for $5.
Well, Louis is probably very attached to his wrench. You know, they're funny that way. They grow on you. Now, look. Take the monkey wrench and throw it in the river.
Now, wait a minute. Let me get this straight. You want to give me $5 to throw my monkey wrench in the river?
Don't take you long to catch on. Throw it in the river and be sure it goes in.
Maybe I'm nuts, but would you mind telling me why?
Because right here, there's a nice big opening in that symphony of steel mesh.
So what?
So that's where I would have thrown out the monkey wrench if we'd been speeding through here.
Yeah, which we ain't.
So go ahead and throw it. Now, we'll get your diver, fish it out again.
Huh?
You boys don't mind, we can get started now.
Look, Bill, I know money's no object to a guy what can't spend it after midnight tomorrow, but...
I've told you 19 times I'm paying $500 to get that wrench back.
And here I stand loaded with news that might help Westland.
Yeah, what?
Well, you wouldn't like it. It makes sense.
Spill it.
Well, when I goes to get Father Neptune, I calls for Z so he won't think we died.
And
he's wormed some hot information out of Simmons the butler. Now, the night before he got his, Sprague, the bookkeeper, was up to see Simmons.
So what?
While he was there, he phoned Woodbury and made an appointment to see him the next morning.
Which he was on his way to keep when he got bumped off.
Right.
Did Woodbury say why he thought Sprague wanted to see him?
Yeah, he says he thought it was on business.
So do I. There he comes.
Here's your rent.
That's fine. I want you to go down again.
Yeah? What this time? Screwdriver?
No, it's another little object about the same size as the wrench.
Oh, I guess, huh? Well, animal, vegetable, or mineral.
It's metal, but I'd rather you found it without my saying any more.
And it ain't that pile of junk I brought up?
No, it ain't.
Say, you wasn't looking after something like that, was you?
Mammy, that's it, pal.
Great Mother Methuselah, how'd you know that was down there?
Pure deduction, my dear doctor. When did you find this?
Shucks, I found that the first time I went down. You said a monkey wrench. Say, couldn't you let me keep that to give him a little boy to play with?
Huh?
But what's the idea of going to Peoria the day before Westland?
Don't get excited. I'm going for Westland.
What's this mean?
It's the answer to 50 or 60,000 wires I sent out to armament firms.
But what's the idea? If Westland's gun killed
We'll
his
know
wife...
about that as soon as Williams digs up some bullets to fit Westland's gun.
But how?
Easy. Major Lee, the ballistics expert, will put the bullets in Westland's gun and shoot.
Now, wait a minute. Haven't you heard? Westland's gun is missing.
For Peoria, Springfield, New Orleans, and Dallas.
Not anymore. I found it this afternoon in the Chicago River.
You found it? Congratulations. Now Westland's sure to croak.
Why?
I spent part of the day going through his accounts. Westland has enough stolen bonds in his name to float a government loan.
He has, huh? I bet poor old Sprague knew about it. That's bad. But Westland still didn't kill his wife.
Then who did?
Bard, I'll tell you when I get back from Peoria.
This is Mr. Hatmeyer, Mr. Crane.
How are you? Mr. Washington tells me that a P.T. Brown of St. Louis bought a Webley pistol from you.
Yes, he bought 2 Lugers and an old-style Colt at the same time. He's a collector.
Would you recognize his picture?
Oh, I'm sure I could.
Is it one of these?
Yes, that's the man.
You sure?
Positive.
Was this Mr. Brown particular about buying a Webley?
Well, he insisted on making sure of its accuracy, so I got some bullets and took him out to the target range.
Swell. Can I see the target range?
Yes, right this way, Mr. Crane.
Thanks. What's back of those targets?
Earth and clay.
Do you remove the bullets after you shoot them into the bank?
Well, we haven't for a couple of years.
Have any other wartime Webleys been fired into there?
No, they're pretty rare in America. In fact, the one we sold Brown was the only one we had.
Could you get those Webley bullets out for me?
I think so. You see, they were jacketed bullets. We don't use many of them. But we'd have to dig away about 6 feet of bank. Take a man half a day digging into the bank and screen the lead.
Are you Mr. Crane?
Yeah.
I have a telegram for you. Any answer, sir?
You better wait. I'd hire the men to dig for the bullets. And I'd give $100 for every bullet they found. Give me a blank.
And Brown fired it 6 times.
Business hasn't been so good.
I could do a little digging myself.
Have everybody, including murder, in Warden's office at 9 p.m., Crane. Including the murderer.
At 9 p.m. It's 18 minutes of 12 now. And no Crane.
Where is you, Mr. Crane?
That's what I'd like to know. Why are you waiting out here?
Maybe I'm waiting to kiss that great big detective hello.
Now listen, at a time like this, don't do anything to disconcert him. In 17 and a half minutes, it'll be midnight, and 2 minutes after that...
17 and a half minutes. Did I ever tell you what happened to me in 17 and a half minutes?
Save it for true story.
Oh, I knew you'd come.
Reception committee?
Crane, where have you been? The state's attorney's waiting.
You State's Attorney Ross?
That's right.
Out of Major.
Major,
The governor's agreed to accept Mr. Ross's recommendation on a reprieve.
if you get me the real murderer.
That's easy. The murderer is in this room. Did you know that the accounts of Westland's clients are loaded with phony bonds?
We learned it today, poor chap.
So that proves he's innocent, then?
Well, it helped me. Now let's reconstruct it.
Remember, you've only got 16 minutes.
That hardly seems enough. As I see it, Westland was lured to his wife's apartment by a phone call he thought came from Miss Martin.
Can you prove there was a call?
You've had your chance. Let him talk.
The police concede that he left at 12:40, but we can't prove it without Grant.
And he's dead.
So are you from the neck up, or you'd have found out the same as both did, that April 25th is the day that daylight saving starts in Chicago. So the shuttle didn't hear that shot until 1:10, not 12:10. And we know that Mrs. Westland was killed with a Webley. And we've known all along that it wasn't Mr. Woodbury's, as Major Lee has proven with a ballistic test.
Now we know it wasn't Mr. Westland's.
That's right. My test shows that Mr. Westland's gun could not have killed his wife.
Just a minute. Mr. Westland's gun was missing all during the trial. When was it found?
Yesterday at the bottom of the Chicago River.
And how did you know it was there?
Westland probably gave it to him, and he put it there himself.
I'd have had to do that 5 months ago, right, Major Lee?
As far as I could judge, it was in the water at least that long.
How did you come to find it?
Clever deduction, the magazines call it. The morning that Mrs. Westland's body was discovered, Mr. Bolston called Simmons, the butler, and told him to come down to the jail. Is that right, Mr. Bolston?
That's right.
That was 11:30. Is that right, Simmons?
Yes, sir.
And while Simmons was out of the apartment, Bolston slipped in and stole Westland's gun.
That's not true. Why would I steal my partner's gun after his wife was dead? And how would I get into his apartment?
I'll answer your second question first. You got into the apartment with a key given you by Emily Lou.
How dare you? Do you think I'd give Robert's key to...
Your husband?
No, this is ridiculous. Do you realize Westland's to die? Every minute counts, and you're talking about...
I'm talking about the woman that owns this bracelet with an inscription on the inside that says, "To my wife from R.B., Richard Bolston."
And if we are married, does that prove I stole Robert's gun or killed his wife?
No, but it helps. At least it shows us how you get into Westland's apartment.
Go on, Crane. You say Bolston stole Westland's gun at 11:30?
That's right. And then he had an appointment with Mr. Woodbury, his partner, in their office at 12 o'clock, and he arrived at 12:02.
That's right.
That's quick work unless you drive underground and dispose of the gun on the way through that nice big opening in the bridge.
So that's the reason for all those rides to LaSalle Street.
Right. Through trial and error, we found the only way that takes less than half an hour and crosses the river hidden from view.
What do you make of that, Strong?
It sounds swell, but Mrs. Westland was already dead. Who killed her?
I regret very much to say that Robert Westland's wife was murdered by his partner.
Yeah? Which one?
Mr. Bolston.
That's a lie. It's not true.
Why, it's a dirty grandstand play of a cheap detective. Westland dies in a few minutes, and you stand here making ridiculous accusations.
Connor? We're ready.
It's as simple as this. Miss Martin did call Westland the night of the murder.
I didn't.
Sit down and keep quiet. How do you know?
Westland said the sound over that phone was like Niagara Falls.
Proving what?
She took the telephone in the shower with her, called Westland and disguised her voice. Then for fear that he might call back, she cut the telephone wires.
And her mother didn't hear her?
She couldn't. I tried it. Having succeeded in getting Westland to go to his wife, she called Bolston. He waited for Westland to leave at 12:40, then he called on Mrs. Westland and killed her at 1:10, the time the shuttles heard the shot. Then he stole the key and left.
But I found her key on the table next morning.
Sure, while you were examining Mrs. Westland's body, Bolston slipped the key back on the table.
By golly, he could have.
You've reconstructed the murder magnificently, Crane.
Then you'll grant her agree? There's only 2 minutes left.
You say Bolston knew Westland had a Webley and used another Webley himself to kill Mrs. Westland?
And then stole Westland's to make Westland look guilty.
I'm sorry, this is all circumstantial. You can't produce the weapon you say Bolston used, can you?
No, I can't. I'd hope to do something just as good, but my witness is trouble with air sickness. Here he is! A raid for the U.S. Marines. This is Havermeyer of the Washington Arms Company. On April 25th, a certain P.T. Brown bought a Webley automatic from him. Look around, Havermeyer. Is the man in the room? Quick.
That's the man.
Can you produce the gun?
No, but I can prove it's the one that killed Mrs. Westland.
Without producing it?
Yes. Tell him, Major Lee. Hurry up.
It's quite simple. In this envelope are the bullets that Mr. Havermeyer dug up at the target range in Peoria. Mr. Bolston fired them before he bought the gun. In this envelope is the bullet that killed Mrs. Westland. The ballistic markings on both bullets are identical. Therefore, the same gun killed Mrs. Westland.
Would Major Lee's evidence stand up in court?
It always has.
Don't sit there like a stuffed duck. Answer it.
Yes, Warden. Just a minute, I'll call him.
Mr. Ross. Westland, come here. They want you upstairs.
Do you mind letting us in on the motive?
The bond business hasn't been so good lately, has it, Mr. Woodbury?
Eh? Oh, no, not so good. Bolston must have been buying hot bonds, switching them for Westland's good ones, and then when he became too involved with his pilfering,
He killed Mrs. Westland and tried to hang it on her husband.
You can figure that out for yourself, you and Sprague.
That's Sprague, the poor guy. He knew too much, being your bookkeeper.
And we found out the money Grant was mixed up in a phony bond deal. Maybe Manning was going to double-cross you with that alibi note.
I suppose I killed Manny Grant and Sprague, too.
No, but I think you'll tell us who did. Come on, both of you.
What's happened?
You're a free man.
Yes, but Emily
Lou
Lou
listen to Brentino. She'll tell you everything. But what she won't tell you is that she helped a lot.
Thank you.
But I still don't understand what's happened to them.
Oh, come on, dogface.
There's a Miss Hogan waiting.
Ah, success at last.
To see Mr. Frazee.
There'll be a check waiting for you at my office in the morning. You've done right well at detecting. Thanks a million. I won't be seeing you again.
No?
No. Agatha and I are taking the night plane for Miami. Do you know?
I'm so proud of you, baby. Ouch! Did I hurt my little honey? Oh, my baby.
How you doing?
Hello. Get to the airport, quick.
We going someplace?
Hello. You got a seat on the night plane for Miami? Good. Save it for William Crane. Right.
What are you going to Miami for?
I'm not.
Well, who is?
Aunt Mary.